changes? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to approve the November 10th, 2022 meeting of the Camden County Board of Education.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Idlet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to ask everyone if you'll please take a moment of silence. Thank you. Dr. Farrell, has anyone signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
If you would please stand up to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So for our board spotlights tonight, this time I would like to ask Mr. Alvin Shaw and Ms. Dorothy Rotunda to join me. As they're coming to the podium, I'll read a little paragraph or two about them. And Camden County's second annual Heritage Festival was held on Saturday, October the 8th of 2022 at the Camden Community Park located behind Camden Intermediate School. This festival draws a large crowd of people and parking availability is limited in the parking area and at Camden Intermediate School. At 9:30 a.m., Noblet Drive was closed to vehicle traffic for the safety of patrons who were walking and for emergency management purposes. To accommodate the volume of vehicles, Grandy Primary School, Camden County Courthouse, and Camden County High School were designated as additional parking locations, and as a courtesy to patrons who had to park at these locations, Camden County Schools buses were used as shuttle services. Many of you may not know that Mr. Shaw and Ms. Rotunda drove these shuttle buses from 9:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. that day. Volunteering to drive buses was a donation of their personal time and proved to be a vital community service to fellow students and, citizens, and greatly contributed to the success of the festival. It is important that your volunteer services were not overlooked. It is with much appreciation that on behalf of the Camden County Board of Education, I present you with this spotlight certificate by way of thanking you for both your donation of personal time to provide an important community service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So for our next spotlight, I would like to ask the Camden Middle School volleyball team members and head coach Courtney Smith to join me. So we understand a number of members were unable to attend because of a scheduled practice, but we are happy to celebrate with those who are with us tonight. Ladies, you are here tonight because CMS Volleyball had an outstanding 2022 season by finishing the season as conference and tournament champions with an overall record of 9-2. We are told your goals this year were to focus on putting the team first and giving your best efforts every day. By doing so, your team finished strong and won the championship together. Camden and Perquimans have been at the top of the conference for quite some time, but Perquimans has finished in first place since 2017 until this year. The final match was described to us as a back-and-forth battle with each player contributing to the match. The team remained focused and determined, kept their cool when things did not go their way, and brought the energy and spark needed to win this close match between two very talented teams. After losing the first set, 21-25, The Cubs came back to win set two, 25-22, and they battled in set three but lost 20-25. However, the girls rallied and won the final two sets. Set four was 25-20, and the last set only goes to 15 points, and the girls did just that by winning 15-2. So, ladies, your coach told us that your team never lost sight of the end goal. You communicated well, played with intensity, and hustled. You played with the team at the forefront of your minds. In summary, your coach was grateful to have had the opportunity to be a part of such an awesome season, and the Camden Middle School Cubs were a joy to coach. So, on behalf of the Camden County Board of Education, I congratulate each of you for your team collaboration, which brought a championship title back to your school. Job well done. And I apologize up front if I mispronounce any of your names. Amaya Allen. Oh, there you go. Congratulations. Maisie Altman. Campbell Beasley. Congratulations. Riley Garrett. Right here. Okay. Audrey Kramer. Thank you. Congratulations. Bailey Miller. Isabella Nash. Charlie Noble. Regan Scott, or is it Reagan? Reagan. I thought it was going to get it right. Reese Underhill. Cameron Underhill.
She's not here.
She's not here. Avery Watson. And Courtney Smith.
She's not here.
She's not here. Job well done, ladies. Congratulations. For our next group of spotlights tonight, I would like to ask Summer Forbes, John Owens, Grace Stratweiser, and Wyatt Stratweiser to join me. So these four students recently returned home after competing at the 95th National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. The team placed first in the state NCFFA Livestock Evaluation Career Development event and were recognized at the 2022 North Carolina State FFA Convention, placing first in the state FFA event out of 89 teams. They were then certified to compete and represent North Carolina FFA at the 2022 National FFA Convention. This year, the competition was twofold. Our students competed virtually on September 27th and physically attended the convention in Indianapolis in late October. The team finished silver in livestock evaluation. Summer Forbes, Grace Stratweiser, and Wyatt Stratweiser finished silver, and John finished bronze. On behalf of the Camden County Board of Education, I would like to congratulate you on your success at both the state and national levels, and we are very proud of each of you. Job well done. Wyatt.
Thank you.
Grace. Good job. I would like to ask Lisa Byron, the principal of Camden Intermediate School, and her staff to join me. So Ms. Byram and staff, the Camden County Board of Education would like to recognize Camden Intermediate School for achieving the highest school performance score of any school serving grades 4 through 6 in the state of North Carolina. This impressive achievement is a testament to the hard work and dedication of CIS staff who have made their students' success their first priority. CIS is a harbor where students are engaged in a deep and innovative educational experience and is an environment where a successful academic path is laid out for each student, brick by brick. All of us, young or old, flourished when we are important to someone else, when we are encouraged and we are praised. It is obvious all of these things happen at CIS every day for every child, and job well done. So on behalf of the board, I congratulate Camden Intermediate's principal and staff on this impressive achievement. You stay here. Lisa Byram has been in Camden County Schools since 2012, where she served as the assistant principal at Grandy Primary School and the Grandy Primary Summer Reading Camp administrator until 2021, when she became the principal of Camden Intermediate School. Prior to joining the Camden County school system, Ms. Byram began her career in education in 1996 and has served as an elementary school teacher, a middle school assistant principal, and an instructional facilitator and AIG coordinator. Ms. Byram has received the Teacher of the Year award numerous times in her career, as well as Employee of the Year in 2021 for Camden County Schools, before being named Camden County Schools 2022-23 Principal of the Year. Ms. Byram exudes enthusiasm in all that she does, and her dedication to the students and staff of Camden Intermediate School is evident each and every day. Ms. Byram greets her students every morning, and they are eagerly await Fridays to see what costume she has on. She is passionate about education and makes learning fun, not only for the students of CIS, but also for the staff. Her infectious smile and positive attitude, coupled with her deep knowledge of elementary curriculum and pedagogy, are a few of the many traits that make her stand out as a Principal of the Year. So thank you, Ms. Byram, for the dedication you give each and every student in your school and the time and hard work you give to our school district. Congratulations on being the Camden County Schools 2022-23 Principal of the Year. Any comments?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't do it without great staff.
And the final award, Ms. Ida, would you come join me, please? Yes, I am.
Okay.
It's probably a lot of good stuff in here, too.
Who wrote it?
Nobody signed it.
Yeah, of course it did.
On December 1st, 2014, Whitney, I've only given 4 presentations in the past 2 days.
It's okay.
Bear with me. Whitney Idlet, better known to all of us as Sissy, became a new member of the Camden County Board of Education, and since that time, her positive impact has been obvious both on the board and in the district. The exceptional service she has demonstrated during her tenure is a testament to how deeply she cares for this school district, and I would like to share some of the accomplishments and improvements which she has been an important part of. I'll start with the fact that she has faithfully attended most board meetings, and for the few meetings she missed, there was an undeniable reason why she couldn't attend.
I was there virtually.
Yes, you were.
I didn't miss a one.
You were there.
Yes, that's right.
We heard you. She has regularly attended annual professional development conferences and school events, both on and off campus, in support of students and staff. She advocated for positions such as a social worker, nurses on our 4 separate campuses, a chief academic officer, and math coaches. She supported the advancement of academics and the expansion of career programs in our schools. She focused intently on student growth, whether it was for the college-bound student or the student on a career path after high school, and there was never any doubt that both paths were equally important to her. She supported career development beginning at the middle school level and applauded the creation of the CTE lab at CMS because she believes options and opportunities cannot be introduced too soon to our students. The implementation of sound safety and security processes was one of her first priorities. While on the board, she has supported safety training, drill enactments, some of which she was on site to witness, additional SROs in our schools, and contracting with a safety and security provider who constantly monitors our defense protocols to prevent the seepage of threats into our district. During COVID, she was driven by both personal and professional passions and played an important role in leading the district through the challenges of a pandemic. During this time, she was fully focused on the creative delivery of curriculum to maintain academic success, students' mental well-being, and emotional needs as a result of isolation, adequate nutrition, and overall general health. We are now at the brink of building a new high school, which has proven to be both a challenge and a blessing, the result of which will leave an indelible impression on the many generations to come. Together, we have been entrenched in this process, and now we stand ready to make the dream a reality. So, Sissy, you have been a leader to remember, and I can truthfully say you have never left your boys after a meeting without a smile and well wishes. Tonight, it is our turn to wish you well and all that lies ahead of you. We will miss you as a fellow board member, but look forward to perhaps working with you again in another capacity in the hopes of bringing about better things for all of us. You may no longer be on the board. You may no longer be a board member, but you will always be a friend. So we would like to present you with this plaque, and don't throw it at David. To Whitney Sissy Idlet, in recognition and appreciation of your years of valued and devoted service to the children of Camden County from December 1st, 2014 to November 10th, 2022. Presented by the Camden County Board of Education.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Come on.
Oh, yeah, you boys better
Come
get
on.
your butts up here. Come on, Johnny. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
You want me to hold the phone up for Jason? So he can be in the
Yeah,
picture?
yeah, we'll hold the phone up for you, Banks. We're gonna FaceTime you. All right. All right. Thank you very much. I do want to say just a couple of things. Am I allowed to? Am I allowed?
Yes, you are. We have a
Yay. I know, but I'm trying to never take advantage of that. Do I get to open it now?
sure.
Really?
I don't think anything will pop out of it.
Well, that's no fun. I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, I just want to say that it's been 8 years of a lot of fun and at the same time a lot of hard decisions and sleepless nights. I couldn't have done this for 8 years without the support of the members, the board members that I have, without Anita, without our board attorneys, without all of you. It's been a pleasure to work with everyone. It's been a pleasure to work with this board. I can't imagine ever being on another board and having the relationship that we've had on this one. And I'm not going to tell you that it's all been smiles and hugs, because some nights I've gone out of here wanting to punch every one of them right in their left eye, but I didn't. And they probably wanted to punch me in my right eye. I don't know. But we still appreciated and respected each other, even when we didn't agree. And we all had the best interest of children while we were disagreeing. And so I appreciate just the time, the effort that everybody has put in with me. I just, I've even been ridiculed on social media because Heath sat at the polls for me, but he didn't sit at the polls for me because he's on the Board of Education. He sat at the polls for me because he's my friend. And I really appreciate the friendship that I have, and I appreciate you guys, and you are my boys, and you'll always be my boys. And I'm the oldest one, okay? Like that doesn't show, okay? So I am the oldest one, and that's why I always called them my boys, because I call Ben and Alex my boys too. So anyway, thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you. Gotta get my present.
I'd just like to say it's been a pleasure to serve with you for 8 years. And like you say, it's not always been easy decisions. But the professionalism that we all have brought to be able to discuss topics, even if we did not agree, but to come to, as you say, to the best decision of children.
Mhm.
We appreciate that for 8 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My ribs are going to appreciate you being gone.
I still got one more night.
Dr. Farrell, has anyone signed up for open session to appear?
No, sir.
The consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Adlet. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Information update, school safety and security. Mr. Mike Lawrence.
Good evening. I'm gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too.
Well, I suspect I'll still see you. So,
You'll see me.
we're updating, we're improving some fence lines along Grand and CIS, doing some other fence improvements there. Been working on some lighting here and some other places, updating the cameras in the different schools. Most of it's here, but we're going to be doing them in some other schools. The schools have been doing their own internal drills of various kinds. We are going to be doing a bigger drill district-wide in the near future, very near future. Everything else, constant contact with emergency management, make sure our plans are where we need to be. Run things by Dr. Farrell and met with SROs today with Danny Egan and Jason Winters, talked about some different things and worked through some things that they have. That went well. That's going pretty good. Working pretty good with the sheriff's office as well and the SROs about some different tasks we're trying to get done. So, any questions?
Can you get us the date of the not too distant future drill?
I'm going to refer to Dr. Farrell on that one. We had a slight change of what that's going to be, but the details wise, but I'll get with him as far as yeah, and I can get that to you if you got other questions later. But anything else?
I'll shoot that.
Yeah, we changed one thing this afternoon. I hadn't had a chance to update you on that. Anything else?
Thank you.
Very good.
All right.
New high school project update, Superintendent Farrell.
All right, so first of all, let me start with the latest update from on the land purchase. Kind of hot off the press, I spoke with Erin Burke, the county manager today, and she said that I shared with you all a while back that the sellers had made a few requests in the contract, And one of those requests was a right-of-way to have access to Highway 343. And the county manager at that time asked me to contact Timmons Group to confirm that this request would not interfere with the site plan for the new school. And it will not. And so I informed Ms. Burke of that information, and the county then did all they needed to do. And they have sent the documents back to the seller's attorney. And that was done on October 31st, 2022. So that's where we are with the land. Moving forward with that, she doesn't anticipate any issues. Meanwhile, with our goal to work toward consensus, excuse me, of the Board of Education on which items to add back to the project, I've been working on a survey with MB and Mosley. And I was able to take the survey today as a test run myself, and you all will receive that survey tomorrow. And then you will have until November 28th to complete that on your own. And the survey starts out with just a brief history of the project. And then what you'll do after you enter your name and click into the next page, you will then see descriptions of the items that you are for your consideration to add back, items like an auxiliary gym, an auditorium, additional classroom spaces, and such things. If you click in that, you'll be able to see, it'll make the picture bigger, and you'll be able to see what that looks like. But then also you get to click on those pictures, and that will rank them from your priority 1 through 9. And then at the end, and then after that, you'll go into the next pages, which will show pictures of different areas of the building. And then it will give you an opportunity to share any information that you want to share about that particular area of the building. And then in the end, just in case there's something on your mind as a board member that we haven't addressed in the survey, you will have kind of an open-ended question at the end where you'll be able to prioritize anything that is not listed 1 through 9. We feel like we did a pretty comprehensive job of capturing everything that we've heard you all talk about over the weeks and months, but just in case we wanted to have an open-ended question at the end. And then what will happen after the survey closes is MB Mosley and I will compile the data. All the stars will align, and you all will have chosen the same 3 or 4 top priorities. So, and then once that happens, then we're good to go. Now, if that somehow doesn't happen, 5 people trying to prioritize 9 things and they're all choosing the same things, then if there is not a consensus at that point, we would then determine whether or not it would be necessary to have individual meetings with board members, or if it would be necessary to just have MB and Mosley representatives meet with the entire board. It gets a little bit different because after the election, Sissy's going to be taking the survey, and then our incoming board member will be here for the discussion on that. So I will work with you to make sure that you get those things, Megan, that you need. And then because the goal will be to have the board's consensus by January to move the project forward once the due diligence period on the land purchase is complete and the commissioners set a budget, which hopefully will happen very soon. Any questions for me on that?
I know the right-of-way was one issue. I know the sellers also requested that there be language in the due diligence contract that the land only be used for the purpose of a new high school. Do you know if there was any communication, or was there any hang up with that?
According to Aaron Burke today, there's no hang up. Everything has been approved and sent back to the seller's attorney.
Any other questions or discussion?
I will have the survey in your inbox tomorrow.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Our student board member updates.
Hi, my name is Violet Corbin.
I'm sorry you did that.
Okay. Hi, my name is Violet Corbin. I'm the junior student board member, and I will be presenting on all the schools today because Alexis is not here. Okay. First is Grandy Primary School. They are excited about the opportunity to share all the exciting educational skills and students have mastered with parents this week at parent-teacher conferences. Upcoming events. On November 22nd, the kindergarten will be performing their Thanksgiving musical. On November 29th, GPS will open the Santa shop for students to purchase items for family members for Christmas. GPS teachers are continuing to work hard on the letters training, and they're looking forward to a wonderful Thanksgiving break. Camden Intermediate School. Last month, Camden Intermediate School exceeded their fundraising goal of $30,000 at the fun run. The staff is finalizing the rewards and prizes for each class. This month, students who achieved their AR goal had an afternoon for cornhole, soccer, and volleyball. The PTO was a great help for planning this event, and so a big thank you goes out to them. Also, CIS celebrated the Navigators of the Month for students who have shown great responsibility. Recently, CIS has started a safety patrol where students have been trained to monitor the campus in the mornings and afternoons. Camden Middle School, the volleyball team completed a great season by winning the conference postseason tournament. They had a great spirit week and they held the first pep rally since 2019. During Spirit Week, CMS selected a prince and princess for our club court and recognized the fall eighth grade athletes at our home football game. CMS had the first annual Haunted School and Trunk or Treat on October 22nd. This event was well attended by the community and the students. The CMS PTSO and the Drama Club did an amazing job organizing and setting up this event. CMS had the first NC check-in for science on Tuesday, November 8th. The math and ELA check-ins are scheduled for the first week in December. Winter sports route started this week, and games will start the first week of December. The Drama Club's production of A Christmas Princess will be on December 2nd and 3rd in the CMS auditorium. On Tuesday, December 13th, a representative from the FBI Norfolk office is providing a presentation on how to encourage internet safety in kids and how to recognize the warning signs of online safety risk. Camden County Early College. College application week was October 17th through the 21st. COA Elizabeth City campus field trip was October 18th. It was health science focused. Sheriff Jones came out on October 21st to speak with juniors and seniors. They had a seminar celebration on October 21st for students and Waffle Wednesday on October 19th for teachers. Sophomores took part in the pre-ACT on November 2nd, and freshmen took part on the field trip to a COA Elizabeth City campus on November 4th. On November 7th, our PAL team introduced the silent auction baskets for students to participate. Camden County High School. The women's cross country finished 15th in the state after finishing second in the East region. Men's cross country finished 11th in the state after winning conference and the East region. Men's soccer finished the season with a 15-9 record and advanced to the second round of the state playoffs. Football finished the season 6-5, the first winning season since 2015. Volleyball finished the season 25-3 and won the conference championship, regional championship, and were state runners-up. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes at CHS has held 2 meetings so far this year, with 38 students attended. At their most recent meeting, they had a guest speaker and youth leader from Fountain of Life Church, DeMar Sutton. He was a Northeastern high school graduate who spoke on various topics to our student athletes. FCA also held a successful volunteer opportunity for all students on Friday, November 4th. The students helped pick up trash around the school grounds, especially the football field and bleachers. 8 students took advantage and cleaned up around the school. The Coast Guard JROTC held their first military ball on November 5th. This ball was planned and carried through by the cadets with the help of the Booster Club. The ceremony, dinner, and dance was a huge success. The JROTC took a field trip to Coast Guard headquarters in D.C. on November 7th. The cadets had an opportunity to meet the Master Chief Petty Officer and the Coast Guard and the Vice Commandant. Throughout the day, they learned about headquarters, career opportunities, and what it means to be a U.S. Coast Guardsman. Several cadets and high school students went on tour of the clinical onboard Coast Guard base in Elizabeth City. CCHS held a Halloween march on October 31st. Students were able to wear their Halloween costumes to school and were given candy by the teachers. The National Honor Society tapped 4 seniors this past week to become new members. Mr. Sumber's classes took field trips to the Museum of the Albemarle, making connections to what they've learned with our local history. 2 of our seniors, Peyton Carver and Brandon James, won the Heisman High School Scholarship, and they will continue for a chance to become state winners. Camden County High School Band won the Band Spirit Trophy for having the most professionalism, sportsmanship, and competitive spirit throughout the band competition. Thank you.
Your monthly financial update is in your packet. Does anyone have any questions? Under our action agenda, our school safety and security contract, Superintendent Farrell.
You will recall that we entered into a contract with Mike Lawrence with Carolina Consulting Risk Management, LLC, in February of 2022. And I am requesting tonight that you extend that contract to go until June 30th, 2023. And at that time, you can either extend that contract one more time per the original contract, or you can put it out for a request for bids at that time. But tonight I need an approval to move the contract out to June 30th of 2023.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Eilert to approve the superintendent's recommendation for renewal of the school safety and security contract to June 30th of 2023.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Purcell. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Policy Code 2300, board meetings, Superintendent Farrell.
So as you are aware, Policy Code 2300 governs our Board of Education meetings, and Section B addresses specifically that each regular meeting shall begin with a closed session at 6:30 p.m., followed by an open session beginning at 7:30 p.m. I'm bringing to you tonight for consideration to table change to this policy to read that each regular meeting shall begin with a closed session at 6 p.m. and regular open session would remain at 7:30 p.m.
Motion to table.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to table policy 2300 for further review until a subsequent regular board meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Policy Code 3620, extracurricular activities and student organizations. Superintendent Farrell.
Policy Code 3620 governs a variety of extracurricular activities and student organizations. Specifically tonight, we are looking at the portion of the policy that governs participation of homeschool students in athletics. Sorry, and our current policy does allow for high school students to participate under the rules and regulations set forth by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. The current policy does not address participation by middle school students. The language that the attorney has added at your request is that homeschool students would not be allowed to participate in athletics unless they are eligible to participate in high school interscholastic athletics in accordance with this policy and the North Carolina High School Athletic Association handbook. I spoke with Johnny right before the start of the meeting. And this language doesn't change the allowance of middle school students to participate in athletics, but it more clearly spells it out. Johnny, if you have anything.
Yeah, I mean, the way the policy reads now, it talks about duly enrolled students. They're governed by North Carolina High School Athletic Association rules and regulations. So after that clause, the language that Dr. Farrell just read provides that the homeschooled students, they can't participate unless they're eligible to participate under the high school athletic association handbook and the policy. So really it's a clarification, because the high school athletic association handbook applies to high school students, not the middle school students. So you've got to be eligible under that high school handbook to be able to participate. So that's how it excludes middle school participation. It's really just a clarification.
And the NCHSA policy is the one that talks about the halftime enrollment.
That's right.
That-
The dual
that-
enrollment.
yes, the dual. Gotcha.
And so what you would need to do tonight is to table that policy consideration for review.
Motion to table it for the 30-day review period.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to table policy code 3620, extracurricular activities and student organizations for a subsequent regular school board meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. North Carolina School Board Association Fall 2022 Custom Updates for our Board Policy Manual. Superintendent Farrell.
I'm going to actually refer this one right over to Johnny. He's done a lot of research on this.
Sure thing. Happy to talk about it. So as Chair Overton said, the North Carolina School Board Association came out with their fall update of policy revisions, and they do this every year, and they do it after there are some legislative changes made to the law applicable to schools. There are two big categories of changes this year. The first is really not so much a legislative ordeal, but it's more related to the state of emergency that was declared during the pandemic. As you all are aware, that was lifted earlier in the year, and now they're reflecting these changes in the policies to where any policy that had any kind of reference to COVID language, that language is being removed because the state of emergency is no longer in effect. Some areas where that pops up is the lead policy, school safety, transportation policies. So that's just kind of a big blanket, and that's all throughout the policy. There was a big note on the update about board meetings and remote participation in board meetings. And counties and towns before COVID never had the authority to hold remote meetings. School boards have had that authority. So it's really not going to affect the school board that language is being taken out, because I was looking at a copy of your meeting policy earlier, and it expressly has language in there permitting remote meetings. So that's going to be okay. The other big category of changes related to children of military families. So North Carolina participates in the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children. And it's really an agreement among states to alleviate a lot of the transition issues that military families encounter. And really this change is reflected throughout several policies. It all draws from the legislative change this year that extended this compact, which previously only applied to active members. It now is going to apply to inactive members that meet certain conditions. So that's kind of sprinkled throughout different policies. Aside from those, there were a couple that I found that I thought were relevant and worth mentioning. The first one is really the one that kind of jumped out the most. And if you look at the updates chart they gave you, there's a number of things that are either required, strongly recommended, or recommended. And everything that's required is required by the law. Everything that's strongly recommended is probably more likely than not required by the law. And everything in this category under this policy that I'm about to discuss is either most of it's recommended or required, some of it's strongly recommended, but it's policy code 4130 on discretionary admissions. In the past, the superintendent originally had the authority to decide whether or not to admit non-domiciled or non-resident students into the school system. That's changed now. That authority now lies with the Board of Education. So typically, if there was a decision to come before the superintendent in the past, that could be appealed to the board. That's no longer a step. They really are just eliminating the step of having the superintendent consider this, and it's going straight to the board for consideration. They still have all of the old criteria that they used to have in place for making this determination. They did add a couple of new criteria that I thought were worth mentioning tonight. The first is that the parent, guardian, or custodian has to explain in writing compelling and specific reasons as to why the student needs to attend the school. And they expressly stated there that any reason having to do with athletics or participation in athletics is not a valid reason or sufficient explanation of need. So that's kind of the first big requirement that's new. The second one is that the student has to demonstrate that he or she was in good standing at the previous school, and they have to give a transcript and a couple of other records, that was a requirement in the past, but they've just reworded to make it a little bit more clear in the new policy. Another new interesting requirement is that if a student resides with an adult that's not a parent, a guardian, or custodian, the student now has to furnish the school with a notarized document showing that the parent, guardian, or custodian consented to the student attending the school in the new district and authorizes the adult that the student is living with to make all decisions relating to the student's education, including anything from field trips to medical treatment to grading and discipline. This one's kind of common sense, but if the student doesn't reside in the district, they've now made clear in the policy that the parent, guardian, or custodian is going to be responsible for transportation of the student. And I think that's pretty much everything under that policy. In the past, Dr. Farrell, you had 10 days to provide a written response to one of these. The Board of Education now has 30 days, so they have a bit more time to get their facts together and give a written response. And a new requirement this year is that students have to submit new applications every single year. So it doesn't just roll over anymore. They've got to actually go through this process and submit the application every year they want to be in a new school district. Another one that jumped out was licensure, and lifetime license holders, they don't have an obligation to complete continuing education credits to maintain their licensure, but the superintendent now now can require them to participate in professional development opportunities as a condition of employment. So that's a new update they had. Policy Code 4110 talks about health requirements for school admission. They have now made clear that the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine is only required for students entering school if the student's under the age of 5. Those were the big ones that jumped out. Pretty much everything else had to do, again, with the children of military families or COVID policies. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them now or at a later time. It looks like the board is going to table this to give a bit more time for everybody to look at the policies and see if there's any tweaks that we want to make before we adopt it. So happy to answer any questions you guys may have now or in the next month or so.
4130, the discretionary admission, is that just on the out-of-county children who want to apply to go to the school, or is that for the residency challenge? Like we find out someone doesn't live in the county.
Well, it's really both. I mean, it's non-domiciled students. So if somebody wants to come in,
No differentiation.
that's right. They don't differentiate at all. I mean, it's just non-domiciled. So I think it's treated the same way.
Is there an appeals process at the end of that policy somewhere? If the board, like now, we reject a student we find out doesn't live in the county, we ask them to be removed.
Not in the policy, but in the statutes, there's probably an appeals procedure for it. I brought one policy with me tonight that talks about appeals, if I can find it, this amount of paperwork. But typically there is some kind of remedy in the statutes for that. The board's typically not going to have a final decision on it. They're going to have a right to judicial review in some form, whether it's probably district court in this case. But the board's likely not the end all of this decision. I mean, they're probably going to have some kind of judicial relief, just as a bare minimum of due process.
This is basically removing the superintendent as the first line now.
Right.
The board is the first line and goes to judicial.
That's right. Yes, sir. A lot of changes in that policy.
Motion by Mr. Ablett to table the fall 2022 custom updates as provided and presented by Dr. Farrell and the board attorney this evening,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Purcell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Superintendent's recommendation for employment.
My recommendation is that you approve the personnel report as presented by Ms. Davis, closed session.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to approve the superintendent's recommendation for employment as presented by Ms. Davis in closed session.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Announcements. North Carolina School Board Association annual conference will be held Monday, November 14th through Wednesday, November 16th in Greensboro, North Carolina. December 5th is the swearing in ceremony for elected board members at 8:30 a.m. in the new county building meeting room. Also, on Monday, December 5th is our regular Board of Education meeting, which will start at 10 a.m. at the central office. And our December Board of Education and County Commissioners Luncheon and Joint Meeting will be December 5th at 12 o'clock for lunch, and we'll begin our meeting at 12:30 in the library meeting room of the county building. And the Board of Education will have a holiday gathering on Monday, December 5th at 5 p.m. at Cypress Creek Grill. Does anyone have any other business or future agenda items to add?
If you all have December meeting agenda items or joint meeting agenda items that you'd like included, please make sure you let me know as soon as you can. I have a meeting scheduled with the county manager on November 21st at 1 p.m. to finalize the joint meeting agenda.
Motion to recess, open, and return to close.
A motion by Mr. Purcell that we recess open session to return to close.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Idlet. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and there's no anticipation of further action when we come back into open session to adjourn.